beautysuperstars.com, and we're here at the Savvy Salon Owners Facebook group. And we're about to have a great conversation. It's all about leading your team through a storm. And I'm here with Bruce Johnson, who's a longtime friend of mine and the absolute perfect person I wanted to talk to about this topic. We met, I think, at the beginning of your career. But we don't always, get to keep in touch and all of that. So I don't know all the different pieces about your business. So I will let you kind of do a little intro as far as, what your business looks like or looked like prior to this pandemic that we're going through. So I want to welcome you, Bruce, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join me and talk about leadership. Uh-oh, are you there? You look frozen, Bruce. Uh-oh, we lost Bruce. Okay. So there's always something fun with technology. So one of the reasons that I wanted to do this, and I want to try to...
Okay, here we go.
There you are. Welcome back.
How are you?
Always something with technology, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and, like how long you've been there and what type of operation you have.
I'm a salon owner of 20 years. This is the 21st year. Yay. In July.
Congratulations.
And been in the industry over 30 years.
Wow.
And we've been a salon and spa, one of the oldest. Actually, yours would have been the oldest because you opened up before me, your spa. But one of the oldest in downtown Silver Spring, and we've been a part of the culture in the DMV area for 21 years. It's been a great ride for us. It's a great salon. We consider it first class, like most of salon owners are gonna say.
Right.
And we love what we do. We love our clients, and we try to treat all of them in a professional manner. So that is one of our goals there.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to do this because, we're facing something we've never faced before with this whole pandemic and being shut down. Even, a month or two ago, if someone had said, it's like, oh, your business is going to be down. You're not going to know when you're going to be able to go back and all of that. We wouldn't have even believed it,
No. We'd have had this conversation in January and I said, you're out of your mind. No way. No way.
Exactly. And so, what do we do now?
I consider us being taught by one of the best on how to solve problems. Mr. Keith Tate was a master at solving problems.
Right.
And I just feel as though this is a problem he couldn't even prepare me for. So yeah, it's been quite a ride,
Yeah, it's it can be a really scary time for a lot of people. It can be a time where, there's obviously so much change that's going on, and can be for a lot of us a little bit unsettling. And then when you have other people who are kind of dependent on you as well, it adds that extra layer of, responsibility and compassion and kind of keeping your team together when they don't know what's going on and you don't even know what's going on. And so I've seen different parts of leadership where I'm like, gosh, there's like so many pieces that are lacking. And then I've seen others who are like really rising to the occasion, and just wanted to talk a little bit about, as a leader, it's like before this, it's like everybody was, I'm a boss, I'm a this, I'm a that. And that was just the buzzword, And so I said, everybody wants to be a boss until, and so tell me, kind of your perspective with having run a salon for that long. It's like you've definitely seen some ups and downs, I would imagine.
Definitely. The biggest thing is that it's such a learning experience for the salon owner to run a salon that long. People, and getting to know people is the biggest thing. I think a true leader understands the people that works for him or her, and I think that's key Um, am I going in and out?
A little bit, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It keeps giving me warnings on the screen. But
Oh, okay.
like I said, I think the key to being a good leader is knowing the people you lead very well. It's hard to know everyone sincerely, but we do a lot of like one-on-ones where I'll just open the floor up for discussion, and it doesn't have to be the issue. I talk about like what is the most important thing going on with you right now, and they're able to tell me that, and you wouldn't believe some of the things that I hear. And some of those meetings last up to 2 hours. So
Okay.
it's really a good leader to me really tries to understand his staff and his or her staff and really try to get in their heads and to understand what's going on in their world and how to adjust their leadership on that.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's such a key. It's like you um, want to understand each one of them, want to understand them kind of as a group, want to keep an eye on your vision as far as where you're wanting to lead them.
Yeah.
And so there's like so many layers and I think it says a lot that you even have team meetings that last 2 hours, because I know a lot of folks can't even get anybody to show up at a meeting.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to a one-on-one, I mean, they have to show up for that. So
Okay.
that's the key to that.
Right, right.
Or I'll hold it while we have a break, in the system,
Right.
in the day. So,
Yeah. So tell us, are you a commission salon? Are you booth rental? What's your structure like?
Well, I'm into growth, so I'm a commission salon, and I've always been, and I've always, cared about the employees enough to have, healthcare and 401k, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also a separate little savings plan for each one of my employees. They have to have that. So,
Okay.
we're mainly commission. Commission is our way of doing things.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I'm not knocking salons that do booth rental. I mean, that's their choice, but
right.
I prefer to stay where I can actually control the culture, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know we have people that are watching that are on both sides of it, and managing or leading this might be a little bit different for someone that's booth rental versus commission, but I don't think the big pieces need to be in place kind of the same.
Yeah.
So tell me, how has this affected or impacted your business?
Well,
business.
Definitely affected or impacted by, we're shut down,
Right.
and even though the governor has said that some barbershops can go back, the Maryland governor has said some barbershops can go back to business. We're still very cautious. And then when I had my mom actually come down with COVID-19, I really became very afraid. I mean, it's one thing to be afraid of it, but it's another thing when somebody close to you is suffering from, this crazy disease. And it just makes me look at things totally different, So, through prayer and, and goodwill, I mean, we're fighting to stay alive. I communicate with my staff. We have our little happy hour Zoom meetings. Mm-hmm. And, I call them individually to see how they're doing, just to keep their spirits up. But, Miki, it's hard. It's really hard to keep people focus at a time like this, like, okay, we will get back to business. We don't know when exactly, but we will be back in business at some point. And the key to me, as we go back to leadership, is to keep a positive vibe with everyone, saying things that, go towards, positivity instead of negativity, and like one of the employees asked me, will I still have a job when we open up? And I'm like, of course, you're going to have a job. But, we have to approach things totally different now, when we go back to going to work, because, we can't have as many clients in the salon as we used to. And we're going to have to book differently. And we're going to have to not have as many staff members in there as much. And, the real thing about that is, we're actually going to make less money, there are going to be some price adjustments, but, on the long run, we're going to actually make less money. And then So we got to be able to talk to our landlords or our, people we rent from for our spaces and say, hey, look, this is where we're at. We can't be afraid to ask the questions,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that internal business structure has got to, stand out. I think we got to be prepared to open back up. And that's what I'm learning so much of now. And I'm trying to put things in place to prepare to open back up. And,
Right.
And I just imagine a rush of people based on the comments and text messages that I get from my clients,
Mm-hmm.
But, still, if I got to space them out, there's going to be a lot of unhappy people in the beginning.
Right.
And one of the main things is since we've had and I know you've had other salon owners do this, where they sell gift cards at this point in time on their websites or whatever, what have you. Who do you prioritize when you open back up? If it comes down to a mad rush of people, do you prioritize the people that have bought their services already from gift cards or all of these questions come to mind. So that's the strategy that I'm looking at right now, for my staff. And then to be able to explain that to them and then to be able to explain and dialogue back to the clients, and all that is, to me, what a salon owner should be doing right now as the leader. That's that whole program right there, the communication,
Yeah. I mean, you brought up several of the points I wanted to kind of address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think that's why we're here, is to talk about these things, but it's the reality of, with going back. So one, you're in a position where you are going back. It's like, I know from coaching and from being in the industry that there were some people before this. I don't know, names to call out or anything like that. But I know there's some people who were struggling before this happened. And that this may be the thing that tips their salon over not being able to open back up when we come back. And needing to have those types of conversations with their team and, kind of potentially make provisions for where they may be able to go. And I've talked to stylists, to make sure you're having these conversations with your salon owner and seeing, like your person asking, like, am I going to have a job when this is over? It's a valid question,
That's a very valid question. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And my heart goes out to people who are not going to be able to go through this and survive. I mean, it's real. It's real. Right. I mean, we have famous places in Washington D.C. like Ben's Chili Bowl. That's going to the whole. It's not easy at all. Right. And as a Black business, we already, to me, start out at a handicap in a lot of our areas. So, and we don't get the advances. Like I heard the Lakers got all these millions of dollars today, Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm like, wow, it's so easy for them to get all the money. So easy for them to get all that money, but somebody like us who really needs it, who could really use it, so.
Yeah, and we've of course watched things with the PPP with all of that, a lot of those funds going to really huge businesses that have access to lots of capital.
Right.
And, it's like, in some ways, it's like, I understand, the owner from Shake Shack was saying, it's like, well, literally, we don't know what this is going to hold for us. So it's like, if there's access to money, it's like, we figured, why not get in line? So it's like, I get that. But, at the same time, it's like, you and I are, on Main Street, I guess is what they call it. And it's like, we don't have the same access to capital.
No,
people,
we don't.
lining up or other resources and that type of thing. So I think it's important.
It should give us a huge lesson. If you didn't think that saving capital, was a key thing to do as a business owner before, you sure know it now,
Right.
So that's the biggest lesson I see right now. This PPP is a big question mark. You don't know if you're going to have to pay it back, in some cases, and it's up in the air. It really is. It really is. And I don't know. I mean, we've had some kind gestures of clients who may have had appointments during the closing time and still paid for services, and not look for anything in return. One lady said to me, if I have to pay my housekeeper and she can't be here, I sure can pay you. And, I'm like, well, that's awfully kind of you, man. But there's all these great moments that I'm hearing that people are going through, but you know,
Right.
the big thing is, you know, when you talk to certain landlords and places, people that own these buildings, they say things like, well, you know, we can just work out a repayment plan for you,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
which really isn't an answer for somebody like me because I'm in a high rent district in downtown Silver Spring, Maryland,
Right.
and you know, it's going to be a struggle getting back open and getting back up, and then you're talking about repaying the rent that I missed, you know, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
so we're just faced with so much, so it's a matter of taking it day by day, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, and I suggest kind of writing all this stuff down. It's like I just had kind of a brain dump myself with getting ready for this, where I was just like, okay, there's this to think of and this to think of.
Mhm.
So, definitely, you've spoken to a little bit with the morale of your team and keeping them, going so
Yeah,
that, you can return whenever that time frame is.
right.
Um, Staying in contact with the clients is one thing, but then you mentioned like the income will be diminished because you can't see as many clients.
Right.
Double booking is completely out of the question. Like you
Mhm.
say, scheduling staff is going to be a whole nother thing to contend with. But
Mhm.
then there's additional cost to actually reopening. Have you
Yes.
looked at that as well?
I looked at that as well. You know, as far as like restocking, you know, things for the salon, you know, uh, you know, phone and utilities, you know, the cost of that, you know, the
Mhm.
cost of the lease, you know, that I missed, the time that I missed, and working out a payment plan with them, um, and just the cost of you know, most of the staff has been on unemployment, you know, but just the cost, if I do get the PPP, that money is supposed to be used towards payroll,
Right,
so
right.
you know, a lot of it's going to go towards that, you
Yeah,
know,
that's what I've heard.
before,
75% is to
yeah,
go toward payroll, but then you have to rehire your team back, and it
yeah,
sounds like there's definitely
yeah.
some.
Yeah. And then you look at, you look at little things like, our washing machine was on the blink in the salon. I know I'm going off topic a little bit, but
Yeah,
something that's been able to rest for a few months, I'm imagining when I go back in and click that thing, certain things may not even work
right.
you know, when you get back, So you got to go through, I need a day or two to go through and make sure everything is,
Right.
is operating,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And that's real. I mean, it's like we can't
Yeah.
operate without it. And then now they want well, we're supposed to have a fresh cape on every person anyway, but it's like definitely a fresh cape on each person. So that's more laundry if you already have enough capes for everybody, which some places do and some places don't, but it's an expense if you don't to be able to ramp up because those
Yeah.
cloth capes are expensive. They've said the disposable ones are less expensive, but you've got, concerns with trash and
Right.
landfills and all that kind of stuff with that. Plus, it's still an expense to buy it. Then you've got probably an increase in laundry.
Increase in laundry. If you do get the disposable towels or capes or whatever, you still have to, you still have to, buy more. You
Right.
know, you're going to be buying constantly. What was the other thing? I mean,
Well,
everything, everything. I mean,
gloves, you need a new pair of gloves for each person that you're working on.
gloves,
Plus, if
mask,
they have
mask, gloves.
color or chemical, they're going to need two sets for that one client of gloves,
Yes, yes, yeah. I mean, that's going to be quadruple the amount of gloves you've been buying. So
Exactly.
so your costs go up.
Right, right,
Um, I mean, it's endless. It really is.
right.
Masks, you got to get masks.
Yep.
It's going to be a requirement to have the clients wear masks. You wear masks, so I got to add that to your costs,
Right,
your average cost.
right.
We normally would have the big jugs of hand sanitizer from Sam's Club, so increasing that, so
But
I
they're out of
mean,
stock probably now.
Lysol. I mean, it's endless.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yes.
then even like now, of course, we're not really supposed to have anybody waiting, but it's like I talked to another salon owner and she was saying the chairs they had were cloth chairs. So it's like you can't sanitize a cloth chair. So fortunately they had some other like acrylic chairs that were, in their back room So they and even your checkout processes. I don't know if you guys work with more than one receptionist, but it's like really only one person can work up there. And how are you going to take payment now? They're saying maybe you shouldn't take cash. It's like, do cash.
That goes back to what I was saying about getting your culture right. All right, deciding what you're going to do, and communicating that to the staff and to the customer so they understand. If I'm going to be taking less cash, I got to communicate that before we open. I got to tell people that.
Right.
On their follow-up emails when they book appointments online, it's got to mention that. It's got to say those things so they can understand. They can be constantly reminded, hey, we don't want to take as much cash. We're wiping down the credit card terminal every time somebody sticks a card in there. I mean, it's endless. The things we got to think about, which is pretty much sincerely what chapter 1 has always been about in our cosmetology book.
Right.
Sanitation, and I mean, we've always known this, but now we're really putting it into focus. It's something that all good salons and spas and barbershops should already be practicing.
Yeah, but most of the salons I've been in have been very conscious about sanitation. Some could probably be a little teensy bit more, and I know some people had slacked off or what have you, but it seems like we're going from sanitation to sterile.
We're going to sterile. Going to sterile. We're like the hospital now. We're like, we got to be sterile. The first thing we all need to think about when we reopen is taking the couple of days and get a good cleaning crew to totally sterilize everything in there.
Right.
I mean, that's number one, cleaning that place out totally and sterilizing it, and then going from that point.
Right.
But
and another expense, right?
Another expense. I mean, it's endless. And that's why I say we need a little bit more grant money or something from SBA to really get us set up, but right. I know it's not just us, it's not just our industry, it's right. Most industries to deal with this,
Yeah.
Most industries have to limit the amount of people that can work there. And right. Fortunately, a lot of them were already, working from home and doing things like that, which is something we don't do as
right,
much,
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's that, I've seen salons operate without receptionists and having a call center on another location or area or on another floor of the building. And the particular clients can check out using the swipers or at the chair and everything, and everything's written up and everything. I've seen it happen. So this is a good time for us as salon owners and leaders to change things that we were actually weak in before, and make them better, make them stronger. I mean, we all pretty much have an idea of different areas that we could use some work in, and this is a good time to focus on that and bring it to the forefront and make it better.
Yeah, I definitely think that this time, just kind of like in a cosmic kind of way, is like a sit back, take a deep breath, get off the treadmill for a minute and really see what's important and really see how to spend this time really preparing for the comeback, because we have to do business differently. And particularly at first, it may not be, I already know that most salons operate on a pretty slim margin in terms of profit, and it's going to be slimmer or wiped out. And so, and then the client experience feels like it will be a lot different as well. When they're saying wear a mask all day and the client has to wear a mask, and they're saying, you may not want to talk as much because, it's like that's when things can be, can get out in the ethers or what have you. It's like all the fun is talking to the clients,
Yeah. I mean, what if someone coughs? How do you handle that? This 6-foot barrier, that's key. Because people are going to be conscious of that. They're not going to want to be, so your average shampoo bowls are less than, 3 feet apart, So, So when you shampoo people, you skip a bowl here and there, and
Exactly.
so this whole thing has got to be redone and reimagined. It's just totally thrown off the focus of what we got into this to do, and that's good hairdressing, and a good
Right, right.
spa and everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
so we become I don't know the industry that you would call that, but we're going to be more focused on that management and sterilization.
right, right.
We should be
Yeah,
specialists in that when this is all over.
exactly. Yeah, so it really is such a balancing act, I think, for making it work for everybody, for
Mhm.
you as a salon owner, for your team, for your clients. What we've tried to create through the years, especially in a spa type experience, is the experience.
Right,
And
right,
this whole thing has just been like,
right,
that whole
right.
experience is kind of out the window. It's like we can't serve, if you had cookies and drinks or something before coffee and stuff, people are taking out their coffee machines.
Yeah, no food, no magazines. Remember
Right,
magazines?
right,
No
right,
magazines, no food. Talking is at a minimum. You
right,
know, which is unheard of for our salons and spas.
right.
We come there to get the news. To
Exactly.
get the info. So cancellation. Spa people have been they're pretty consistent on how they've been doing things. So they can pretty
Right,
much go back to their own ways. But you know, for the salon and barbershops, it's going to be a whole different experience.
right, right. And will you make any distinction between the spa and the salon as far as when you open both? You think it'll be at the same time? I think the massage and the facials and that type of thing are even closer than we are with hair. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As far as there's no way for us to do hair 6 feet from the client.
No.
But the relationship between someone doing a massage and a facial seems to be even closer than.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I don't know how you control that. I was doing one seminar earlier, and the guy mentioned that we are going to have to turn to actually, taking temperatures of
Oh,
individuals
mhm.
um, 3 times a day for
Wow.
staff 3 times a day, and for clients when they come in. And I don't know about you, but I can't even imagine some of my type A personalities walking in that door and me sticking a thermometer in their mouth or whatever. Say, hey, you got to do, I mean, so this, I'm telling you, this whole thing is like a doctor's office now, but spa
Right,
people,
right.
I mean, you're talking about an industry that's more than 90% human touch, I mean,
Yeah.
does it just suffer now because people are going to be conscious of getting a massage or facial or manicure and pedicure? I
Mhm.
mean, is it going to be, is the industry going to totally suffer now because of this? A
Yeah.
technician giving you a massage with gloves on. I mean, is that going to be the new routine now? I can't imagine. I
Right.
think, so it's so up in the air, and I think that's what really messes. I mean, just the whole thing up is that we don't even know. We can't even predict it.
Right.
We could just take precautions and
Mm.
move from there.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
we
And
might. Hopefully they'll come up with a implement or something where we can actually take temperatures and
well,
make
they're
things a lot
talking
easier.
about the forehead one for the,
Okay, was
but
the forehead
again,
one?
another expense.
So if someone is over 99.5 with this implement, then you're going to say, hey, we can't serve you today, and this, that, and the other.
Right. And that's always a fun
So,
conversation, right? And so
oh
when
yeah,
you have to tell a
no,
guest
I
that you
can't
can
even
serve
imagine.
them for whatever the reason, it's like that's
Yeah, and then to the biggest scare is that we could be reintroduced to this whole thing in the fall.
yeah,
When the
yeah.
temperature change again.
So talk to me about your thoughts on liability, because that's been a big question mark in my mind with particularly like Georgia opened up really, I think, on the early side. How do you handle, I've been seeing different conversations online, it's like if a client say gets sick and or maybe one of your team members gets sick. How do you handle that? And then, like, the client thinks they got it from your salon and they charge a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. They probably didn't, but then they've tied you up in a legal battle for the next probably 4 or 5 years. It's like
which could really take a salon under, I
right,
mean,
right.
I'm not sure. I'm having a conversation with my, in the building I'm in, we're made to take out $1 million policy when you open up there for business, liability insurance. And I'm having a talk with them next week about just what would happen in this type of situation, whether they're covering it,
Right.
because they may see, the disadvantage of covering something like that, and they could go up in price a lot more, which is another cost, Miki.
Right.
So, it's endless, but this is that conversation that us as leaders have to have. We got to understand that you got to think down the road on that liability and what that looks like. And should we have money put aside outside of the liability insurance money to to pay for lawyers and things like that, to have them on standby and pay for them and their time, and if we do get challenged with a case,
Right.
Of course, if we do all the things that we're talking about doing, we shouldn't have this issue. But you never know, because there are people that will go around and challenge anything these days. So
Right. There's that. And then, with so many people from what they're saying, and it's like this, the medical side is still unfolding, but with so many people being asymptomatic, and I, have known some people who have been positive, and, in particular, 2 of them that I know of, it's like they had no idea that they had it.
Yeah.
There weren't symptoms and
That's
that
the
type
part.
of thing.
Yeah, you could be a carrier and not know you have it.
Right.
The only way they knew that my mom had it is that they just happened to, at the nursing home she stays at, they just happen to do temperatures on random,
Okay.
so they caught her fever, because she doesn't show it, on the regular, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if we get to this society where we're actually taking temperatures for people to get on rides at amusement parks, and people to, come into a salon, and, you name it,
Yeah.
you go in stores now, they got the huge plexiglass behind the
Yeah.
register there now,
Yeah.
I mean, you can already see the changes that are happening, you go in stores and they have we should probably do the same thing. They have the tape on the floor as to how far 6 feet is behind the next way. I know they're doing it in the grocery stores, and maybe we should take that precaution as well. Waiting area, according to all the specialists and all of the pros, we shouldn't have them anymore.
Right.
And I don't know what that looks like, whether people should wait in their cars.
Yeah.
We just call them in from there, or,
Yeah, a lot of
outside.
people, that's what they're doing, but some places and salons aren't even like a car place. Some parts of DC, it's like you don't drive to wherever you're going, because there's nowhere to park.
Yeah, I'm a half a block from the metro, so a lot of our clients are jumping off the metro. But do they have to wait outside?
Right.
It's not. It's not like I have a cafe or something they can go to, So
right.
I mean, what do the Starbucks look like these days? And so.
Yeah. Take out.
Or the super lounge areas where people used to lounge all the time.
Right. Yep. No more.
No more.
Not right now. But there's oh boy, let me see if there's anything else. Blow drying. Blow drying. I've heard that they say that the virus can be spread from the air, in the heat or what have you, or blown around. And so some salons are saying, they're not doing, for some of them, they're not doing shampoos unless you're getting a color service. You have to shampoo your hair a couple hours before, or what have you, come in with it wet. They'll do the cut and then you leave. And of course, that's more white salons. because they're not doing blow dries, or some are offering it as, you can decide if you want to blow dry or if you don't want to blow dry. And so with the black salon, it's a little bit more difficult to.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of, we mainly do a lot of wet work anyway. So,
Okay.
that roller sets and wraps and,
But then you've still got a hood
molds
dryer, right?
still have the hood dryer. So is that included with the blow drying thing or not? I mean, is that, have
Heat
you heard
air is what I'm hearing, but I don't know.
Yeah, so hey.
And they
Yeah,
probably don't know either. So
yeah, they probably go with both. So yeah, I don't know. That's the first I've heard that one. So that's something to think about. Yeah,
yeah, something
definitely.
to add to your list, right? You didn't have enough to think about.
Add to the list. More things to think about,
Right,
So
right.
I guess it would be taken up with a doctor or something.
Yeah, well, it's like there's so much that's changing day by day that, it's like I don't even know who knows if that's accurate or not accurate,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I read a post from someone who is in Georgia who went back and it just kind of walked through all the steps and what have you that she's taken, and she was saying, like doing the whole cleanup after each client was about 20 to 25 minutes. That's additional downtime.
Yeah.
From producing income,
Yeah, I just, they're gonna have to come up with a whole different scheme of how, this can be profitable.
Right.
I mean, we have to really get with our accountants and bookkeepers and talk about that because, it just doesn't seem profitable as much. And we're already at a low point of profitability for salon and spas.
Right.
That's something to really think about because I can't even imagine taking 20 to 30 minutes cleaning up behind somebody before I take the next guest.
Right,
I'm used to rotating.
Yeah.
I'm used to just
come on. Next.
one behind the other. So yeah, I can't imagine that. That's wild.
Yeah. It's like there's definitely a lot of things to take into consideration. And what are you foreseeing and you've been in contact with your team? It's like, and tell us about your team, like how many people are on it and what type of services do they provide?
Well, there's 9 of us, and we mainly are a hair and spa salon, and we do everything from chemical relaxers to colors, all kinds of colors, keratin treatments, cutting, styling, facial massage, manicure, pedicure, waxing. So we're full service, so this is going to be kind of a step back or damaging to what we do on a regular basis, But the team is very vibrant and focused. They all have great personalities. They're very comforting, and I've learned to choose people like that. To work there, because that's what we call it the mom treatment. Treat every customer as if it's your mother walking through the door, and I think that's key to good customer service. So, and we miss our customers. We miss our customers. I miss my staff. We have so much fun together. So it's just a great group. Not a lot of tension. They work hard. They're young. So I get a lot of vibrancy from them, a lot of motivation, I learn a lot.
I love your millennial moments too that you share online.
Yeah, because I think they operate on a whole different culture than the rest of the world, So there's something else.
Yeah, well, I teach about hiring, and it's always such a key thing to get, I think the right person into the right position. And you said some things that you learned. Is there anything else you could share with any salon owner that's challenged in that area?
Well, when I first started out, I had a consultant work with me, and she wasn't used to consulting on, I'd say on the African American level of hairdressing, and salon ownership. But, she had a pretty good idea of business, so that's why I hired her. And one of the things she told me when I first opened up was that the staff that I open up with, I won't have in 6 months. And for the life of me, I thought I had a great staff opening up, but what she tried to explain to me was that my culture was going to change as to what I wanted to be around every day, And so she was telling me that, as I gravitate into what I want to see in my salon every day and how I want to operate, the staff is not that I first choose is not going to operate the same. They're on a different level. So you'll learn how to get to know the people that you want working for you, And I stopped hiring for actual skill after that first year. I started hiring for personalities and, and just good nature, And I listened to the things that they said in the interview that really I was attracted to, like as a person,
Right.
Things they would do. And I'd say things to them like, hey, we pretty much do anything for our clients. If they want us to put money in the meters, we go out there and put money in the meter. If they want us to run to the store, senior wants to run to the store, we run to the store and get them a coffee or whatever, and we don't think about it, And so, some people are frown up, some people was like, okay, yeah, no problem. Because that's what I do at home. Whatever they tell me to do, I do, So, it was that kind of personality that I was more attracted to, and more of a giving spirit,
Right.
And a lot of artists, naturally are takers. They want to grab and take everything. But I was more into people who had more of a giving spirit. So I always lean towards that when I tell people how to hire. Hire based on what you love, and what you want to see in your business.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, great tips. I hope everybody's taking notes. And speaking of which, I know that we are on Facebook, and I haven't said hello to anybody that might be watching. There might be people that are watching this as a replay, and trying to see. It's like I don't see any questions right now. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Okay.
So, and I can't tell. I'm trying to navigate both these screens here. But I can't tell if we have people watching or not watching. So it's like if you're there and you have a question, go ahead and stick it in before we get ready to wrap everything up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, is there anything else that you want to share about, your earlier experience kind of lending itself? You mentioned our friend Keith Tate and his school of changing with however it comes.
Yeah, the school of problem solving, I call it. Yeah,
Okay.
he taught us a lot. He still does to this day with me. But the thing I loved about him as a mentor and business owner is that whenever something was crazy in my life and I go to him, he always had positive things to say. And I think as leaders, that's what we do. That's what we should do. Just bring the positive light to something going on as to bring even more. So he said that, and he taught me that. So and I felt like I could ask him anything. It didn't have to do with hair or anything, but just anything. And I think as the business owner, we're more in touch with our clients more so. We're not somebody who's just off at another designated location, who they don't see. Which is how a lot of salons operate. But we're that person, that go-to person right there. So people have issues, they have problems, and of why they can't come to work, and so it's just a way of just dealing with that and making the workplace an environment that people want to come to.
Right.
And that's easier said than to be done. But you think about it. What would you like to come to every day? And that's the welcoming spirit of your environment.
Right.
Happy colors, happy faces, beautiful people. Looking great all the time. I mean that motivates people to be there. So. I mean, that's my advice. I mean, it's hard to put that into stats or whatever, because everybody's so different,
Right.
So different, and every area is different, Every place you go in the United States is a different environment,
Yeah. But I think what you shared as far as one, kind of creating what you want to come into, and two, like hiring people that have a giving spirit, but that translates back to you having a giving spirit toward them. And that's something I think that we, as owners, as we grow as leaders, because a lot of times we just open up the salon because it's like, oh, I can do hair great, and
Right.
that I
And we don't
should.
think about management,
Right,
so
right.
yeah.
And so,
And management comes second when it should actually be first,
right,
but
right.
we're all guilty of that. We're all guilty of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, one plus for the pandemic, I've coached a young lady who's, she's mature and everything, but she was planning to open about a month ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
she's not opened yet. And so we actually had a session and went through some things that she really needed to kind of get in place before she opened. And so I was able to get her update, and she's like, oh, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. She worked on her hiring, she worked on her numbers. It's like she's working on really setting up a solid business. So when it does open, then you can go forth,
Yeah.
because it's so
And
much easier
I
to
think that
set it up first.
I think she's in a good position. I really do. I think somebody buying a house right now, if they have the money and the equity and everything, I mean, to buy one, I think those are good places to start, like right now,
Yeah.
because you're at the forefront of something that's got to go up. The economy has to go up.
Right,
So
right.
I think she'll do well.
Yeah,
She's coming in with all the pain there, so she has nowhere to go but up. That's the
right.
key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it really is taking that time to really put the business in order,
Yeah.
because there's some
Yeah.
of us who have been in
Yeah.
business and haven't had some pieces together, which, this has shined a bright light on as well. Um,
Yeah.
but it does give us that opportunity to kind of take a step back. It's like, okay, well, I've always been wanting to do this, and I should have done this, and I would need to do that. And this is the time to start to, put some things in place.
Absolutely. We have been in an environment where we can still operate and knowing that things aren't 100% or even 80% sometimes, but we're still able to operate and make money.
Right.
Now, when you step back and look at it, you got to, like Keith Tate would say, always dot the I's and cross the T's, you know, from
Exactly.
this point, and it's a good time to bring that stuff to the forefront. And it's also a great time to communicate to your staff and your clients. And myself, that's the key right now going forward,
Right.
communication. Yeah.
Yeah, and you brought up earlier communicating with your creditors as well. It's like talking to your landlord, talking to,
Yeah.
any other
Yeah.
debt that you have, and seeing what type of, arrangements can be made. It's like there
Mhm.
typically will be a payback period, but it's like, if now is, impossible, then, it's like putting it out and starting to create a plan and knowing exactly what it is that you're committing to if you're putting it
Yeah.
out in the.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times we won't ask the questions, and that's why I said that, because now is the time where you can really nothing to lose, nothing to
Mhm.
lose. Just ask the question. Hey, can you give me the young lady opening up? I mean, she automatically should say, I need 3 months, free rent, because I got to build out now. I gotta build out. I gotta make this thing work. And there's nothing wrong with asking the question.
Right,
And she probably could get it, and with most landlords.
right,
So
right. Yeah, I mean, we're literally all in this together,
yeah, yeah. We formed an organization in Washington of Black salon owners.
How nice.
Not legally on paper, but we've
Uh-huh.
been meeting over a year and a half so far, and we have, believe it or not, helped each other with tons of things as salon owners, because we're able to come together something and talk as a group,
Mhm.
and discuss things like our leases, our employees. I mean, we bought beauty school meeting to talk about their students, and
Mhm.
we brought marketing people. We brought in people to organize, set up nonprofits to the meeting, and we've learned so much. And we've been able to be there and help one another tackle some lease issues, some landlord issues, some staff issues. We've loaned each other staff members. It's been a quite a united front, and I just encourage that,
Yeah,
because going forward, salon owners need to talk to one another and not be in competition.
yeah, yeah, you're so
So
right. It's like, that sounds so exciting just to hear about, the support and putting it all
yeah,
together. And I know
Yeah.
when I first came to DC, I was at Sully's studio, which is where I met our friend Keith. And
Uh-huh.
during that time, they had citywide, there was I don't even know what you'd call it. It was like these salon competitions, but it didn't have anything to do with hair. It was like bowling and
Oh yeah.
basketball and
Wow.
just a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so each, team
Yeah.
competed against each other. And fortunately,
Uh-huh.
our salon ended up winning. And,
Oh,
but it
wow.
wasn't, none of it was like contentious. It was just like we went out and had a great time. And, it really was bonding in other ways. And, we took the money as like and decided as a group that we wanted to take a trip to Virginia Beach. One of the stylist clients had a beach house there. And so we rented the beach house for the weekend and, brought food and cooked and just had like a nice little get together and stuff. And I just think we do need to do more of that when we can get together again, and even doing things like your meeting that can happen by Zoom and just, figuring out ways that you don't feel isolated, because I think it's really easy to feel isolated as an owner. And like you have to make all of these, in some ways huge decisions by yourself. But it's like when you can actually start to connect with other people, like you say, then you can start to see some solutions that you may never have seen by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a key to operating. You were going in and out there a little bit,
Uh-oh.
but yeah, I think that's key. I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, so those kind of camaraderies, I mean, they were priceless.
Right. Right.
The salons getting together, competing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really a lot of fun. And that was my first introduction to, the DC hair scene was coming in on
Yeah.
that. So that was really cool. But yeah, it's like I think we've covered so much ground today. It's like I really appreciate you taking the time to,
Yeah.
come and
Yeah.
just share and have these real
No, it was a great
conversations.
conversation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I
It's
think
a
we
great
need
conversation, and
more.
well, kudos to you for keeping our salon connected and alive. That's so important these days.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
I could take it. We're not going to have as many hair shows anymore.
well, it's like that's definitely a huge up in the air kind of thing right now. It's like
Yeah.
pretty much all of the shows scheduled for the month of August. And so we were, a month or so ago looking at the logistical nightmare for the people who do all of them. I don't do that many, but going to New York and then over to Chicago and then down to Atlanta and getting all your stuff shipped and all that kind of stuff. But I have a feeling that August is probably
Yeah.
not going to be the month that all of that happens. So,
This thing is going to wipe us out when it comes to that. So I don't know how much longer, but hopefully we can get back on board one day.
yeah, well, we're definitely gravitating, which I'm really excited about, seeing more hairstylists get involved online. And I think it's come to light that we definitely need a plan B, which most of us have not operated with much of a plan B.
Yeah.
And so, tomorrow I'll be doing a webinar that's, what's your profit plan? And talking about how you can survive now and thrive later, or thrive now and thrive later, but starting to put together some of these plan Bs, because we do need to create some additional streams of income, and a lot of it can be online, so that we're taking some of what we're doing in the salon and doing that once we get back, and still having that additional stream of income. So, yeah. And so,
although I was a little worried. I was a little worried about, a lot of my colleagues are, showing clients how to do their own hair at home. So as an old school stylist, that kind of bothers me a lot, because I want people to still need me when this thing is over too,
Yeah, well, I think they are anyway. So it's like, even if you show them how to do it, it's not the same.
Not the same, but anybody can get good at anything, so.
Yeah. But it's like a shampoo. Like, I know how to shampoo, but I can't shampoo myself the same way.
Exactly.
There's no way that is experience is the same, but
So yeah, I
yeah.
guess it'll also motivate us to get better.
Get what?
It'll also motivate us to get better at what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
We'll have
yeah.
to get a lot better at what we do, you know.
Well, that's a whole nother show, right? A whole nother conversation
That's a whole nother conversation.
with
Yeah.
sharing what to share and what not to share. And some people have been sending them home with
Yeah.
professional hair color, and
Yeah.
some people are totally against that. And it's like, wow. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but it's definitely good
Interesting.
to just have this conversation, because I think we need to have more, and talking about the real things that are there before us. And I think you made such wonderful contributions to what leadership looks like and can look
Thank
like.
you, dear.
And so I
Thank you.
definitely
Thank you
appreciate
so
you.
much for having me. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
yeah, you're very welcome. So it's definitely good to connect, because it's like we've known each other for years, but we so seldom get to
Thank you.
really connect and have
It's been a pleasure being on your show. You're one of my true friends in the industry. So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. So I
yeah,
guess we'll
yeah,
call it a day. You're breaking up just a little bit too. It's like we're having our little technical challenges, but hopefully
yeah,
we'll come out
yeah.
pretty
Go in
good.
and out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
All
it's
right,
like I
Mick.
want
Thank you
to
so
invite
much.
anybody who's watching, if you're not part of Savvy Salon Owners or the Beauty Superstars groups on Facebook, to come and participate with us. And we're just trying to get information out to help people to really be able to thrive, to create that plan B, and be able to
Yeah,
maximize who we are in terms of how we can generate our income as well. So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
coming
That's a
soon, a
pop.
new
That's a
brand
pop.
new Beauty Superstars site.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And these will go up every day on the site, right?
What is that?
I said these will go up every day on the site. Yeah.
The interview?
Yeah.
Definitely not every day. Yeah, I've been kind of doing them.
You might become a regular talk show host for our industry, and that'd be great, you know.
Yeah, it's like I kind of always wanted to do a podcast, and I started with a few episodes and it kind of fell off the wagon, but I do love these conversations. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am in
no,
the
it's great.
process of, kind of putting together so that I can do more and
Yeah,
contribute
that would
more.
be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
be on the lookout. Thanks for your encouragement.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you take good care. Our prayers and thoughts are with your mom.
Thank you. Thank you
For
so
have a
much.
full
Yeah,
and quick recovery.
yeah, yeah. She's stronger, so that's a good thing, you know.
Yes, definitely.
All
Definitely.
right, Nick, thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much. You are definitely a true beauty superstar. So thanks a lot,
Yeah.
Bruce. Take good care. And everybody have a great night. Be safe out there. Wash your hands and stay inside.
Going on.
Bye.
Thank you.